Right. Hi, everyone. Good morning and good afternoon. This is our Monday Nishmat Zoom, and welcome to everyone. So just to say thank you to those that have read, obviously, Nomi, Adele, Blima, Chaya, the Rebbitzin, and now we are about to introduce, with great pleasure, Jordana Baruchov. Mrs. Jordana Baruchov is a middle school dean and Judaic studies teacher at Yavne Academy. She's innovative and experienced educator. Jordana has a master's in Jewish education from the Azrieli Graduate School of Jewish Education and Administration. Through her shiurim classes and programs, Mora Baruchov has inspired thousands. She has hosted numerous challah bakes and cooking shows for Project Inspire and Jewish Journeys, and she has indeed been part of some of the videos that we have produced over the last months. She's been featured in the Nashim magazine, and her inspirational weekly Parsha message, Drink It In. She can also be seen on Instagram at Drink It In dash at the bottom, Jordana, and Facebook, Jordana Baruchov. Her email is jbaruchov@gmail.com, and it's jordanatorah@.com. I'm going to actually put it in the thing, and without any further hesitations, it's a pleasure to welcome you. Thank you for being here, Jordana.
Oh, thank you. I think I have to also update because I also have a podcast that's been going on for a while, and we're on season 8. So if anyone wants any information about my podcast, let me know. You could definitely research that wherever. If you happen to listen to podcasts, then just put in Drink It In and it'll come up probably. If you have any problems, let me know. Okay, so, wow. First of all, when I talk to you ladies, I'm always so emotional because I feel like I'm in a room with such angelic women. And it is always an honor to speak and share whatever's on my heart and words of Torah that I've prepared to give over to you. But today, I think Naomi wanted something a little different of a style. The road to happiness, what exit is it? I think that's what I had titled this. And believe it or not, we already know the exit. And I think that's what a lot of you are going to be blown away with. After today, I'm going to be presenting certain ideas that many of us already know them, but you're not necessarily having it in the forefront of your mind. And if you could accept the words that I'm saying, if they resonate with you, if they penetrate with you, you're going to have a load removed from your shoulders, removed from your back, wherever you feel that stress or whatever you might be feeling. These words, these concepts are definitely going to unload whatever burden you might be carrying. So there's something that I do on Instagram, and that's called Ask Away. It's a new thing that I do where I put up a question box and people ask me questions. And then I try to do my best and come up with ideas. And within 1 minute, I try to answer those questions. And I assume if it's a question that one person asks, it's a very good chance that somebody else has the same question. So recently, when I was working late one night, wasn't via Instagram, but it was via Facebook. Someone messaged me and she said, Jordana, you always say that we could ask you questions. I'd like to ask you a question. I said, okay, fine. Go ahead. I always get nervous because I don't know what the question is going to be, but we just go with it, and Kadosh Baruch Hu should put the words in my mouth. So she asked me, how does one strengthen their emunah? How do we strengthen our faith in God? Because I think I'm a really firm person. I find that I have emunah, but sometimes I find it diminished. I find it lower than where I want it to be. So I answered her plainly that, first of all, our relationship with the Kadosh Baruch Hu is that it's a relationship. It's a personal connection. So if somebody would ask me, how do you connect with your children? Give me the secrets. There are no secrets. That's my connection with my children and my children's connection with me. I I can't tell you how I connect with my kids is going to be different than you're going to connect with your kids. Or if you're married, your relationship with your husband is going to be different than your friend's relationship with her husband, and how the two of you connect are going to be totally different. So the first thing I told her is that she needs to find the tools within her. She has the tools. I can't tell her what those tools are. We all have what we need inside of us. That's how Kadosh Baruch Hu creates us. It's within us. It's in our gut. And believe it or not, today's class, to blow you away, you don't even realize probably that the way you started off today's class, and you do it every day, is the secret to our connection. We say kapitel 100, right? You say it 4 times. There it is, the secret. We'll get to it. So what we need to do is we need to find our own personal tools. So that's what I told this woman. You need to find what is your personal tool. And then after you discover what your personal tool is, and I think she knew what it was, you got to remember to use it. How many of us know that there's something that puts us in a good mood? Like for me, for instance, I love to dance. So I'm not feeling so good. I'm not happy at certain times. I should just put on the music in my kitchen and just dance. But for some reason, I don't do that enough. But I should be doing it. You know, sometimes my sister will give me a call and say, Jordana, just stop whatever you're doing and just go dance. And I'm like, okay. Or yesterday, I know exercise helps me. I was tired, but I said, you know what, you're going to get to the gym. And I got to the gym and I felt like $1 million afterwards. But so many times we know the tools, but we don't utilize the tools. So besides having those tools, discover and figure out your tool, utilize those tools. And what's more important, use them when you don't think you need to use them. Like I was saying that I'm depleted, I'm not in a good mood, and I'm not going to my tool of dancing. I shouldn't be waiting, and this is going to be the theme of today. I shouldn't be waiting until I'm depleted when I'm running on empty to use my tool. And this is what I had expressed to this woman through this conversation that we were having on Facebook Messenger. You don't want to get to empty. When things are going well, that's when we need to do the work. That's when we need to do the work on our faith and our commitment. And that's not necessarily natural. And I'll explain why. We all know the Shema very well. This is a learned group of women. It says, Achalta v'savata, right? We are going to be eating, we're going to be satisfied. And what's the words that come right afterwards? Hishamru lachem. Rashi Chazal explains why right after Achalta v'savata, it says Hishamru lachem. Be careful, watch out, because when a person is eating and satisfied, and it doesn't have to deal with food, not like I had a great meal. We're talking about when you're satisfied with life, when everything is going well, that's when we seem to forget about our connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's when we seem to forget about things. It's only when things are not going well, when we're almost on empty, that's when we feel this push and need. Oh my gosh, we're scrounging. We're trying to connect as best as we can. And that's what we need to fine tune. We need to remember, and this might be a little different for some people in the room. I hope I'm not like revolutionizing your way of thinking, but if I am, great. I'm expanding your brain. We are all different parts. Let me explain. We all come from different families, or else we wouldn't be existing right now, right? We had parents. Maybe some of us had siblings, maybe we didn't, but we came from some sort of family structure. In that family structure, I know it's not nice to label, but there were always labels, right? If you dig deep and think and take a moment for a second and think about your upbringing, think about your family life, or think about if you're a mom right now and the children that you have, think about that and realize that there are certain labels that we don't want to necessarily put on different members of the family, but we do. For instance, maybe there's the book smart one, there's the funny one, there's the fixer, the one in the family that always likes to fix things, there's the one that always likes to entertain, there's always one that causes some more stress or anxiety, the worry wart. There's someone in the family that always likes to keep everyone on schedule. There's somebody maybe in the family that's more chilled, laid back. There's maybe somebody in the family that is like the workaholic, always doing their schoolwork. There's somebody, I think you get the idea, right? That there's different parts to a family. So just like there are different parts to a family, and it doesn't mean those family members are good or bad. They're all needed to make up this family, and we should validate and hear those different parts out of our family. Within each of us, within each of you, we have different parts. Now, it happens to be based on different challenges we might have had in our lives. If you want to use the word trauma, different life experiences we had, different parts of our life, different parts of within us have now maybe taken a dominant forefront position. So for instance, for example, I know one of my children, she had certain writing issues or certain things were challenging for her, but she did really well in school. School was her go-to thing. She loved to learn. She loved class. She was successful in it, even though writing was difficult for her. She became the school one, right? Now, that became her strength. She became the student, the hardworking student, and that serviced her up until a certain point. After a while, you're not in school anymore. Is that going to service you? Now it can. If you go to a job, you're gonna school it. You're gonna learn it very well. You understand what I'm saying? Different parts of our bodies that are inside of us service us at different points in our lives. But then there are times when certain parts don't service us anymore. So I'll give you a personal example. When I grew up, I grew up in a home that didn't necessarily validate, which I think was very common, I guess, for the time, because when I talk to my peers, it seems like it was very common, that didn't validate all of our emotions. And so I learned to just buckle down and do what I need to do. As famously my father used to say, take a tissue and blow it out your nose and move on. You know, you're upset about something, especially when I was a mom, he says, you're upset? Okay, cry it out. You're in your bedroom. Now get out and smile for your kids and go do what you need to do. Now that serviced me up until a certain point. That helped me through a difficult marriage, because what was ended up happening was, just as much as I didn't validate somebody else's emotions, I wasn't validating my own. So I was able to handle certain things. But now I'm not married. Now I'm not in that difficult situation, and I'm relearning how to validate myself and validate others around me. So there's a part of me, it serviced me. That part worked well, but it's a glitch in my system that worked, that was positive then, but now it can't be in the dominant forefront, that part anymore in my life. If I want to have a proper connection with myself, with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with people around me, I need to now reinvestigate the different connections that I have. I need to reinvestigate alternate ways, alternative connections. So many of us connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in times of sorrow. And that's okay. Like even when we started off, right? People say Tehillim, someone's not doing well. And that is our natural reflex, knee-jerk reaction as Jewish people. If I could, I know we're going to open this up afterwards when I'm done, I think for a little bit of discussion from what I understood. If I would ask right now, okay, we have 100 people here in this chat. If I would ask the women in this chat, how many of you are in a Tehillim chat for someone who's not well? Not only would all of you say yes, okay, I'm sure all of you would say more than one chat, because I know I am in more than one chat, and I'm sure I'm not unique. I'm not a unicorn here. And I know the women here in this room, you are all amazing and, like I said, angelic human beings. And so I'm sure all of you are more than one chat saying Tehillim for somebody. And that is amazing. And that is great. But there are many routes, as I started off, to get to the same destination. wouldn't we want to take some routes that are more pleasant, that are more scenic? This like painful route of when things are going bad, when we're struggling, when we're running on empty, that's when we have this wake-up call to connect. What we also need to do is, when we talk about what I gave that example of validation, is if we could take moments, and maybe that's something that we'll do at the end, and give people time to think. And I'll give a little exercise for all of us to do. Somebody, I know last time I did this with somebody, I did a one-on-one with somebody to demonstrate, to model it. And I think some people found it very powerful. I'll do a little exercise with someone just to get the feel, to show everybody what they can do, to figure out where there might be a glitch in your own system. Remember, because we're all made of different parts in our body, but not that we want to squash those parts, but rather we want to hear those parts, let those other parts know that they're seen, and we want to validate those parts. How often, if somebody came over to you and said, oh, that's not a very good thing that you're doing, right? If they squash something about you, would you want to hear what they had to say anymore? No. But if somebody started a dialogue with you and said, oh, I'd love to understand what's behind that behavior, why are you acting a certain way? You've now opened up an opportunity for expression, and there's no shame in it whatsoever. So let's say you have somebody that's a workaholic, right? That's a part of them. Now, you don't want to squash that and say, oh, that's so bad. You don't spend time with your family. You don't spend time with your children. You don't spend time with, you always work. But maybe if you got and had a conversation with yourself to understand, what is it? What positive aspect of you is the workaholic? You could better understand and be compassionate to the areas in your life that you feel are icky in your life, that if you feel are icky about you as a person, because this is the time, this is Elul. So many of us, right? This is about working and improving and connecting to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the people around us and ourselves the best way we can. But it's not about shaming ourselves and the different parts that we have. We want to take every part of us, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu put it there for a reason, not to shame it. Everything in us, like I started before, is the tools within us to be the best version of ourselves. So we want to look at these different parts and see what are the positive intentions. So again, that person who's working like so hard, what can you find is positive in that? Don't cut that off, because what you're doing ultimately is you're cutting a part of yourself off. It's like cutting off your arm, right? You don't want to cut off your arm. You need your arm. It's easy for us to understand this concept when I present it in the physicality world, right? And I presented it in the family. But when you try to take what I'm saying from the outside and putting it into the inside, it takes a little bit more mind tweaking. So we're going to leave that for a second, and we're going to focus on a different, we're going to do an exercise in a minute. But what I want to talk about is this WhatsApp. Yes, correct. Internal family systems, correct. What I want to talk about is, I mentioned WhatsApp groups, right? How awesome would it be? You ready? If we connected more to HaKadosh Baruch Hu when we're happy. We all have simchas, am I right? I can't imagine that we go through life and we don't have a simcha. Let's say you have a new grandchild, you have a new child, you're making a bat mitzvah, you're making a bar mitzvah, you're making a wedding, your child makes a siyum. I don't know, pick a simcha, and at that time, make a WhatsApp group. Make a WhatsApp group in honor of the simcha. Say some tehillim then. You make this WhatsApp group, you say to your friends, hey, it's a week before my son's bar mitzvah. Let's all say tehillim, and in the joy and in honor of my son's bar mitzvah, let's connect for the simcha. Because you know what happens? When HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees that, oh my gosh, Jordana and I could go through different names here on the screen. Marsha, Esther, Yehudit, two Yehudits, I see. Annie, Yael, Nicole, this is what I see. Bernice, Brimit, Blima, they're connecting with me now in times that are great, when they're besimcha. This is when they reach out to me. This is what strengthens their connection. Oh my gosh, you know what I'm going to do? What Kadosh Baruch Hu says? I'm going to give them more simcha. Because what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from each one of us, he yearns. How often have we heard the phrase that in Elul, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's in the field, he's waiting for us. He wants us to connect. If there are moms here in this room, don't you want your children to connect to you? Don't you want your children to tell you about their day, right? They came home from school. How's your day? Fine. That's it. That's all you got. If you're struggling with that, just FYI, a great way to model that is to tell your children about your day. Tell them, oh, I want to share with you. This is what, and then you teach them what it means to share about a day. Just letting you know that, and you'll see magic happen within a short period of time. They'll start telling you about their day because they just don't know how to do it, and they're uncomfortable. But if you do it, they'll do it. So I'm just putting it out there. That's a side note. But we all want to connect to our children. We want our children to connect to us, and that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from us. And if he sees, oh my gosh, Jordana connects to me every time somebody in her community is sick, that's what gets her to daven more. That's what gets her to say Tehillim more. I guess that's what I got to give more to Jordana, right? If she's in trouble more, she seems to reach out more. So that's right. You think about it like positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. You're in your house and somebody leaves a mess in their bedroom or in the living room. And that's what brings your attention to it. And you're like, oh my gosh, you guys always leave a mess, blah, 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 blah. But how much better would it be when people actually clean up after themselves? Make a big deal about that. Wow, you cleaned up. I so appreciate it. It means so much to me. How much, ladies, I'm not telling you anything new. I'm bringing this knowledge and I'm just tweaking it for our connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If somebody gives you a compliment for something positive, you're going to do it again. HaKadosh Baruch Hu and our connection to him is no different. So I challenge the ladies here to start WhatsApp. Let's start a movement. Let's start WhatsApp groups when we have simchas. And it doesn't have to be for a month long. You want to do it just the week before? That's fine. But can you imagine? And call up your friends. Not even a WhatsApp group. If you want, call up your friends and make a notation. Take out a piece of paper and mentally write down, I'm calling this friend and I want to give her a bracha because I'm having a simcha this week. I want to share my joy. I'm going to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu by connecting to others during my time of simcha. You will see, I guarantee you will see more simcha in your life. It's hands down, without a group, without a doubt. Another thing that I think is very important, and I think many of you do that, is surround yourself with people that can make you stronger. I play tennis in the summer. I teach tennis. And one of the things when I was younger and I was growing up and playing tennis was that I had to play against a stronger partner. I had to. If I don't play against someone that's stronger, I don't strengthen myself. And obviously that person had to play against someone that's stronger and so on. That's how you raise the bar of your skill set. You want to strengthen your soul skills. That's a good way of putting it. You want to strengthen them. You need to go a little bit further. You got to go and have people around you that are stronger than you, that support you in that area. If you go to exercise at the gym, someone's making a comment. Okay, I know you're putting a direct message to me and I appreciate it. So someone is commenting, and I feel it's important for me to say that if you broadcast your simcha, it could bring sadness to those who don't have that husband or family or child. Yes, you have to do things with a sensitivity, but can you imagine if maybe you called up that person who doesn't have, and they're the first person on your list, and say, I'm having a simcha, and I wanted to personally give you a bracha, or I personally wanted to have you in my tefillos because I want you to share in the same simchas that I'm sharing in. Again, there's always room, unfortunately, where whatever we do might harm or hurt someone else. I think we all know what our intentions are. I can't imagine anyone here in this room would ever intentionally hurt somebody. And that doesn't mean we shouldn't be sensitive to somebody else's, but everything is always in the way that we present it. So what I want to say is that when we focus on the good, we get good back. If we focus on happy times, we get more happy times. We live in a world of mida keneged mida, measure for measure. This is our world. And if we can do a little exercise, if that's okay, I haven't even been focusing on my time frame here. I don't know when we started, where I'm up to. The first exercise, if anybody wants to do it with me, you can. You want to put your screens on, you can. If not, not. This is the exercise, and I found it quite powerful. Part of accepting all the different parts that are within us is to learn to love every part that's within us. So what I'd like everybody to do, and this, okay, I do this every day, so I'm just putting it out there. This is how I start my Shemona Esrei. So this is me being me, and I'm giving you a little insights into Jordana's life and her davening methodologies. Okay, so I take my arm and I put it out. Okay, my arm is stretched out. And I close my eyes. And I imagine that I'm going back in time when my mother gave birth to me. And there I am as a baby. And just to let you know, if you do this with a friend and they actually take a doll and do this, it's like it shook me to my core the first time when it was done to me, and the doll was actually placed in my hand. But now I don't do the doll, but because I can do it without the doll. And my mother gave birth to me, and there I see the baby, and then someone takes me, baby me, and puts baby me in my hand. And then I take that baby, which is me, and I bring it close to my heart. And I hold it. And I say, I got you, Jordana. And I love you, Jordana. And we're going to be okay, Jordana. And then I start my Shemona Esrei. That's what I do. That's an exercise that if you want to try and do, it's quite powerful because it's about accepting all the parts that are within us. Another thing that could help is if you take and jot down on a piece of paper. Okay, somebody like that. If you take, I got a little message privately, wow. Yes, it is wow. If you did it, you definitely could feel it. And if you didn't feel it, that's okay. I'm not here to shame anybody. It's okay if you didn't feel it. That's okay. Maybe you don't need to feel it. And that's awesome. That's amazing. You know, maybe this exercise is beyond you. You love yourself fully and completely and don't need the exercise. So if you didn't feel it, that doesn't make you any less of a human being here for this class. The next thing I would offer for you to do is take a few moments and write down. Yes, I'm also tearing up. Another message I got. Write 3 things that you don't like about yourself, or for some reason you want to change about yourself. 3 things. I think that sometimes that's the easiest sometimes for us. It's so painful, right? That we can come up with the 3 things we don't like so quickly, quite painful. Once you write down those 3 things, I would love, after this class is over, if you don't do it immediately, I'd advise you to do it sometime today, because I don't want it to go past today, because I want what you're feeling now to go into in this message of this class. And again, if you could always listen to the class again later, I guess, maybe that would help. I want you to get curious about those three things. I want you to see if there's any positivity or positive intentions that you can find behind those three things that for some reason you want to change, you don't like about yourself. If you are a type of person that yells a lot, why do you find the need to yell? Is there a glitch in your system somewhere inside you? Is that a part of you? Going back to the person who works so hard, is that something that you do? Find the positivity in it, because remember, that is you. You want to cut off your arm? You want to cut off your leg? You want to cut off a finger? No, they're all needed. We need every single part that's within us. And we want to try and focus on finding the positivity when we're doing well. What could possibly be positive about being self-centered or prideful? Great, great, great question. Okay. So, and then someone put down, and putting myself down. Opposites of each other. I wish the two of you could be in one person. That's great. That just happened by chance. I had one person that texted me and messaged me, what good is there in being so, I guess would be boastful, and then somebody who's the opposite of boastful, right? Isn't that unbelievable? I think that is awesome. Thank you, ladies, for putting that out there. I think that is so beautiful. First, that you shared that with me, so thank you. And it's still private. Nobody knows who's sharing that with me. I want to thank you for trusting and sharing that with me. And by putting it out there, that helps, because sometimes there are people who can't be as honest with themselves. But I don't want to tell you what could be positive in those things. I think you can discover what is positive about those aspects. Or maybe you might want to open up a dialogue with your friend. If you want to open up a private dialogue with me and you want to reach out to me, feel free, reach out to me, and we can get curious together if you'd like, and have this conversation together, because I'm definitely confident that we can find something positive, and there's positive intention. And then hopefully you won't shame yourself, and you could focus on the positives and really realize that every part of you is there for a reason. And every part of you makes you that great human being. And then hopefully you could get on a road and an exit to happiness through good times. Connect through God, through the positive connections. Every part of you should be able to connect to God, and it should be done through happiness, through joy. Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha. You ladies say that every single morning, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but you say it 4 times a day, every morning before you start this class. And that's what I wanted to end with. I know we're supposed to open it up for discussion. Am I right? Is that how it works?
Yes, please. Someone have a question?
Hello, my name is Charlene. Jordana, thank you. You bring the sunshine. I just want to share. I want to share something that happened in my backyard yesterday. When you mentioned that the positivity, when you bring joy in your life, that's what we need to do. So I just happened to host a wedding of one of the people in our group at Tzira Liba, and I had not much to do. I just offered her, oh, you could get married in my backyard. And you know what? She took me on, it's fine. So we had this wedding, and my husband and I, we noticed one thing. This wedding was pure joy. And I'm thinking, why was it pure joy? Because the people who came to that wedding, they were total friends. They were united already from the past. If it was from the Nishmat group or the family or close friend, it was. I never experienced a wedding like that because it was pure joy. And some people jump in the pool at the end, fully dressed. Some guys, the joy was beyond. And I said to my husband, we really had the zechut. This zechut is, I believe, because when I met so Liba, she introduced me to this group. I felt for her pain that she doesn't have a bashert and everything, and I would daven for her, like just because she's my friend. And things happen so quickly, and there we go. Yesterday was pure joy. I never experienced that before. So I want
can
to
you give
share
a
that.
bracha to everybody? Give a bracha. You're in zone
absolutely.
of joy.
I am in a zone of giving and bless. And my name is Bracha. I want to bless everyone.
Please mute everyone else. It's very distracting.
I just want to bless every person in this group and all women over the world to receive the shefa of Hashem straight into their heart, in their lives, and always feel that they have enough and not empty. They are full. They are full of things, and I just want you to feel that you are full of things to offer yourself first, and then the world, and you should always be satisfied. Like you said, totally, So this is a bracha that we should all receive from Hashem because He is giving us. We just have to open our hands, right? And it's right there.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen, Charlene. Beautiful. Beautiful. Wow.
Anybody else?
Amen.
Jordana, thank you so much. Your everything. I took some good notes again, and it was just wonderful. So your sharing goes straight into the heart. I was wondering about your things that you want to change about yourself. Like, of course, I quickly wrote down 3 things, real nice, and it makes me feel good to put it on paper. But I'm wondering whether it's to see the good in it. Yeah, that's what you said. But is it also something to work on to change, like in some way? What would you say about that?
Yes, and that's right. So, but what happens is I would think that the change should come from a good place, meaning see how it has serviced you and see if it services you anymore, as opposed to saying, this makes me horrible and shaming it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes. Very good. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Great.
Anybody else?
Charlene was the most amazing hostess yesterday. I must tell everybody, she was just absolutely the perfect, beautiful hostess. It was wonderful, Simcha. Thank you, Charlene.
I agree. It was amazing.
I was watching on Zoom.
I was there. Oh my gosh.
I was watching on Zoom, and it looked like it started raining, and everyone was still happy and dancing.
Yes.
Anybody else have anything else that they'd like to share or say?
One more thing. I took notes of 3 parts you said to write down. So I looked at anger in me. Anger brings me to, if I don't stay negative, to be creative, to change things, so I become creative. Judgment brings me back to, when I look at other people, I judge them, I have to come back to me and look into me and choose the good, to judge myself in the good. And then the resentment is for me to let go, to just let go completely and forgive. So those are the 3 points that I looked at, and I have over the years worked solutions. It's very freeing.
Right. Yeah. It's hard sometimes to do the work.
But
if we do the work from joy, that's the whole point. Focus on the joy. And that's what I was saying to Chaya, that not from a place of sorrow, not from a place of shame, but the whole purpose of this exercise is to do it from a place of positivity, and you'll get that much more out of it. And it's like I said, you're driving in a car, right? And there's so many routes in front of you. Who wouldn't want to take the scenic route? I don't know. I don't want the one with the traffic and the potholes. And you know what I'm saying? I would rather enjoy my ride and get
So,
to the
Jordana,
destination.
if I may interrupt you, the word simcha, to me, I cut it in half and I make it a word sim moach. What you put in your mind. You are in charge of your joy. Nobody can make you happy. You need to find the thoughts, the actions, the opportunities to bring joy in your life. And this is a job. It's another deep, deep joy, because it could go just as easily to be sad and depressed, but you can choose to be happy. So it's in your mind. You create a happy thought. You know, like the Lubavitcher Rebbe said, think happy, it will be happy. You know.
But I think I'm going one step further. Connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu when you're happy, and you're going to be more happy. That's the focus, you know, and that's a mind tweak for people.
Yeah,
that's really a mind tweak, because our knee-jerk reaction is to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in times of need, in times of sorrow. And I'm not saying to negate that. That is fine, but add to the times of joy. Add it, fuel it.
That's
and
beautiful.
You see more of it.
So I'm just going to say thank you so much. We could go on talking for much longer, but the time has come to close for today. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much, Jordana. And now let's try and put into practice what we've learned. I think it'll change our Elul if we do.
Yes,
thank you, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow.
Amazing. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Linda, Jordana.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Thank you,
Jordana.
Jordana,
That was awesome. Awesome.
Thank you,
Kol
Jordana.
hakavod.
have a wonderful
Thank you,
day.
everyone, for sharing. Thank you. And Charlene, kol hakavod, kol hakavod. Tizki tamid lemitzvot.
Amen. Okay. I'm going to close.
And more simchas for all the
Simchas,
Nishmat ladies.
Amen, amen.
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 Yom Tov.